Damn it, you know, I gotta say here that I should not have to censor this stuff because this is an image of an oyster. This is not a female vagina, but that's the whole point of why I'm making this video, and the content of this video is that it represents symbolically and biologically the exact same geometry and the same symbolism, the very same biology of the female love muscle, which is why it represents the love muscle. And it's ridiculous that I have to censor this stuff because children can go out and die in war for their country at age 17, but in maybe 1 year's time, at age 18, they might potentially be old enough and mature enough to learn from my etymologies, from my educational videos. But yet at the same time, they can go out to a Hollywood movie at age 17 and watch an R-rated movie, or even just a typical Disney film that has more graphic sexual violence and sexual nudity and sexual content than my actual educational etymology videos do. Yesterday I came across some hugely interesting symbolic, archetypal, mythological, and etymological links to the female sex hormones, fertility, anger, and PMS. Estrogen is the feminine sex hormone. Estrogen is a combined form of the root words estrus plus gen, generative, generation, genitals, gene, Isis, genesis. Since in language, vowels can be interchangeable, and an I can become an E, gen-Isis. So called for the hormone's ability to produce estrus, the production, generation, genesis of estrus. Estrus is frenzied passion. From Latin, oistrus, estrus, frenzy, gadfly. From Greek, oistros, gadfly, breeze, sting, anything which makes one mad, mad impulse. In other words, PMS. Perhaps from a Proto-Indo-European ease, forming words denoting passion. See the root word ire, I-R-E, as in Ireland, the prefix for the country Ireland, which is the land of the irate, the land of the angry. Angry, mad, angry, fighting Irish. See my full post on the irate, irritated, fighting Irish, as I don't want to veer too far off track. Estrogen, Esther, Easter. Esther or Ostara, Old English Easter, Northumbrian dialect Esther, Old High German. Esther can be phonetically pronounced oyster, Esther, or Easter, is a Germanic divinity whose namesake of the festival of Easter. For more understanding, see my full video about the truth about Easter, fertility, sex, and symbolism. The ancient goddess Ishtar, also known as and pronounced as Istre, oyster, Ostara, which means star, known as Easter, was really a fertility celebration of sex and intercourse. Old English Esther, or Easter, oyster, continues into modern English as Easter, and derives from Proto-Germanic Ostren, meaning dawn, itself a descendant of the Proto-Indo-European root os, meaning to shine. Modern English East also derives from this root. Hence we have the Eastern Star, or the morning dawn star, known as Lucifer, Lucere, Lightbringer, the morning star, Lucy in the sky, which is Venus, because she rises in the east and is known as the morning or evening star. Venus is known as the Eastern Star. Aster, Astro. Easter, Star. Ishtar, Eastern Star. Thus we also have the Greek name Esther, from Hebrew Esther, from Persian Sitare, meaning star, related to Avestan star. See the etymology of the word star. This brings us to the Order of the Eastern Star, the OES. the ois, the s, the Esther, Easter. The symbol of the OES, or the Order of the Eastern Star, is an inverted pentagram, similar to the blazing star of Freemasonry. The OES considered to be the female chapter of Freemasonry, although men can join. The Order of the Eastern Star is directly named after Sirius, the star rising from the east. An exoteric or general public explanation of the origins of the order's name claims it originated from the star of the east that led the three Magi's to Jesus. A look into the occult meaning, or the esoteric meaning of the order's symbolism, however, makes it clear that the OES is a reference to Sirius, which is linked to Isis, or Osiris, or Osiris, the most important star of Freemasonry, its parent organization. The OES is an exclusive Christian organization. The name Eastern Star is a biblical reference of the star in the east, which also happens to be the same star as the Star of Esther in Jewish tradition, Venus in Roman tradition, Sirius in Egyptian tradition, etc. In various descriptions and depictions, the star has historically been represented as having its greatest ray pointed towards Earth, or is inverted. Hence why the symbol of the order being an inverted pentagram. See my article called Trends of Inversions. Its appellation also implies a relationship with the planet Venus, also called the Eastern Star. Because again, Venus rises in the east in the morning star, and it sets in the west, the evening star. Each point on the star has an emblem of a different biblical heroine: Ada, Ruth, Esther, Martha, and Electa. And the qualities they represent: fidelity, constancy, loyalty, faith, and love, with the initials fatal found on the symbol. But when the estrogen is imbalanced, you better beware, because you're dealing with the real femme fatale. The cult of Venus, the female Illuminati, the Isisterhood of death, the matriarchy behind the illusion of the patriarchy. Oyster, Esther, Estrus, estrogen. The goddess named Esther is linguistically cognate with numerous other dawn goddesses attested among Indo-European language-speaking peoples. We can phonetically pronounce the name as oyster, which is exactly why oysters are considered an aphrodisiac. Aphrodisiac comes from the Greek goddess Aphrodite and her Roman counterpart Venus, which the goddess represents love, romance, beauty, fertility, an object of desire. Because oysters, also known as mussels, are direct representation of the female love muscle. Which is why, if you didn't already know, the vagina is referred to as a clam in slang terms, which is exactly why the goddess Venus' symbol is the clam or the oyster, and she's often depicted with the clam and the oyster in classical art, such as The Birth of Venus, painted by Sandro Botticelli. Venus, meaning love, beauty, passion, a desired object, gives us the words venereal, which is a sexually transmitted disease, and veneration, worship, praise, particularly goddess worship, as well as the words veneris, viernes, the Spanish name of Friday, because Friday is Venus's day. Friday comes from Norse Frigga's day, F-R-I, Friday, Frigga's day, the day of Venus, the day of the goddess. So I have to add that I had a strong hunch that there has to be a strong connection, obvious connection, between the word ester, oyster, and estrogen. The supposition for centuries was that oysters, clams, and mussels had been thought to be an aphrodisiac, to have aphrodisiac properties, says researcher George Fisher, a professor of chemistry from Berry University in Miami Shores, Florida. And they were eaten raw for that purpose. Until recently, there was no scientific basis for that belief, Fisher added. But what he and his colleagues have discovered is that mussels, clams, and oysters contain compounds that have been shown to be effective in releasing sexual hormones, such as testosterone and estrogen. Women tend to feel their best when they're at their estrogen peaks. The big dive in estrogen and progesterone causes the crazy PMS symptoms, such as irritability, mood swings, anger, or the crazy phase tendencies. No offense, it's just a joke that most people refer to. Let's add a little more humor. Oysters produce a white globule called a pearl, which is why women love a nice pearl necklace. Pearls occur when a grain of sand gets into their flesh. And there's a crude joke in slang that when someone's angry or irritated, likely during PMS, just like the flesh of the oyster gets irritated by the grain of sand, it's often said that they have sand in their vagina. The Urban Dictionary definition of sand in the vagina is a person who is overreacting for no apparent reason. One who is acting fussy or moody, similar to that of a weenus or other soft-spined creatures. In other words, having no spine, easily offended, for no apparent reason. Thanks for your time. I'll include some links in the description. I just wanted to cover that brief article that I had written yesterday and thought it was pretty interesting and wanted to share that. So stay tuned. I've got more videos coming out soon. And again, I'll include extra links and reference resources to my article in the description below. Make sure to check that out for full reference links and further information. And thanks for your time. I'll see y'all later. Until next time.